Hi. So in today's video, I will be telling you more about um, things that happen at the shop, or when we go and get any services, like getting the food, um, or going on the bus. And I mean specifically here, what happens to the prices more often, or how people can just gather just like that to create a queue just on purpose, just for you. Well, um, so I will start with the queues. Um, so I used to buy when I lived in Przecznica Strusińska. Then I used to buy my dinner in a milk bar, and that was a milk bar that was very close to the place I lived. And there was always such a long queue that a lot of the times I was just, disappointed, and I started to give them a phone call all the time. But the thing is, that when I was there, the lady would actually sometimes sell the food and sometimes even walk to the table with that food, and it seemed like she cared. She took care of two things at the same time, and she didn't ask somebody from the queue for help, because we would help, because nobody wanted to stay that long in that queue. So I believe we would help. Um, and the thing is that years later, I came back over there, I think twice. And each and every time I entered the milk bar, it was entirely empty, like entirely. So I was just shocked, and I even had a discussion with the ladies about it, and they go like, "Yeah, but why did you stop coming?" And I told them I just moved out. Yeah. So that was the milk bar. Um, or I had the same with ice cream. When I was a little girl, we used to have our favorite ice cream. It was really on the corner, very close to the place of where we lived. And we used to have Italian ice cream over there, and there was always a queue. Whenever we went there was a queue. And the thing is, over the years, when we moved out to different flat, and we stopped having this habit of going and having this ice cream. I mean, for years I have been walking Wołowa Street because it's a main street in my town, and I haven't seen a queue, not even a queue. I haven't seen a man there. Um, it was when I think I started to work at McDonald's that, maybe twice I saw people buying from that place. And other than that, maybe a person, yeah. But, it's been years that I've spent walking that street. It was entirely empty, because the queue stands outside. It stands on the street, and they buy from the window. They buy from a tiny window that's more even in the shape of maybe not a square, but almost a square. Okay. Yeah. Or when I had to get the injection, when I got the allergy, and I had to go and get an injection to remove allergy. I used to do that once a month, and there were great queues over there. Yeah. Berries. Okay. So yeah, I started to buy blueberries, and I started to buy mountain blueberries. And I loved the fact that they were mountain blueberries. So with time, I was just told that there were no mountain blueberries, just American blueberries. And when I asked when would they come, I was told that it wasn't known. Or when I bought Brazilian nuts, yet once again, then I received some, food worms with it. I remember because I was actually considering, going to going to live in a different space in the flat than the ones lived. But then I thought, no, but what if they start to overgrown, and then you can't, handle it. And once I actually threw away quickly almost everything there was to throw away, it turned out they were in the nuts. Yeah. Or, I would get dumplings. Everybody would get everything in a restaurant, and I would be the last one to get it. But I don't think it's a habit. I think it's just happened once in the mountains. Or when I went to service my MP3 player, we used to walk with my brother in Berlin from one Turkish shop to another Turkish shop. And we were looking for a great and cheap MP3 player for me. So it broke very quickly. And, serviced it. And each and every time I came, I was told, next week. And, after 3 months, I finally decided to take my MP3 player from that place, and I thanked them for the service. But they told me that they have to order a part from this MP3 player, because that MP3 player wasn't Polish, but it was a brand Philips. That was a brand Philips. Sorry. I think it's a well-known and recognized brand. Okay. Oh, so what's that? Okay. So I used to go to Top 800 to buy the printer, the ink for my printer. And whenever I came there, I was always told that they had to order it, but even if I called them, then I would come around and there wasn't my ink, so it probably, I think maybe it happened once, maybe it's never happened that I came around and I actually got this ink when I arrived for it. But, I supposedly like the seller over there, the salesperson over there. And I used to tell him about my yoga instructor a lot. So later on, she stopped working. Gosia stopped working. And there's a longer passage about that in the book. So probably with the next chapter, I will tell you more about it. Yeah. Oh, and I wanted to tell you that whenever I entered that space, there was this very long, as if corridor to the counter. So I enter, there's nobody, and I stand in front of the counter and I said hi or good morning, and nothing happened. And I waited and nothing happened. So I look around and I think, but why does nobody, come around? Why does nobody come around when they have, the printers exposed and so on? And how is that possible? And, finally he came to sell. And then when I turned around and I was heading to the door, I saw that, behind the door sat the man behind the desk, and it was as if hidden, that you didn't see him right away when entering, because when entering you had the door here and he was behind the door. So you would walk there, and with that size of the space, you wouldn't expect him over there behind the door. And I had a similar story in Sorry Club, but I don't think that that was the bartender's idea, because this was my favorite club, and this is my favorite club, and I'm trying to learn to become a bartender. Although my my latest my two my latest meetings were kind of based on taking a lot of notes, and I discovered that there's so much you can learn and so much potential in that topic, but yet I was like, that's a lot of information to handle. Yeah. Yeah, and I think I have to speed up the learning process, and that's for sure. So over there in winter, you have to leave your coat, and to leave your coat, you had to pay for the locker. And the money for the locker was just laying on its own. There was nobody there, and I'm like, what? Like, how is that? Asking the same question, how is that possible that somebody lives there? Like that. But it was the cleaning lady who actually, I think she was just making tests on people on purpose, and I happened to be one of these people because I saw her, standing behind the curtain looking at me. So it happened. But now there are no locker rooms. So yeah, I'm totally sure it's not my bartender's idea because he's like cool and he's so adaptable with conversation and so easygoing. Um, yeah. And then what else did I want to tell you? I wanted to tell you about the robot. So I wanted to tell you about prices at the shop. That sometimes it happened to me that those changed too. So in Schwedt Summit, so we have a shop in Tarnów called Summit. We have a shop in Tarnów called Zenit. We have a shop in Tarnów called Oscar. Yeah. We had a shop in Tarnów called Alma. I mean, Oscar is Oscar Schindler's Factory and Oscar and the Lady in the Pink. So there are some references to Bella and the Beast with that name too, and the Rose. Alma is the name of the whore from here to eternity, which depicts military settings and soldiers' life when there was almost peace, and then Pearl Harbor event at the very end of the book is described a bit. So yeah, that's interesting. But I went to Summit Shop and oh yeah, and I wanted to buy the robot for my nephew. I mean, I was just looking around, looking at the toys, and I found this robot that was interesting. That was probably 240. And then, I took some time to make a decision. And when I got back, actually, it was like almost 100 more. And I even asked, like, what happened and how is that possible? And I was told that the transport, the cost for the transport changed, which is totally unfair because if that changed, does that mean that within 1 month they just ordered more robots? Because trust me, over the years, when I went to that particular shop, it was just empty. Like entirely empty. If I saw one person over there shopping, yeah, one or two. So therefore I thought they don't sell those robots that quickly. But, or somebody tells you that's the cost for shipping. And then with the train ticket, I wanted to buy the ticket to Berlin. Probably that was to Berlin. I wanted to buy the ticket for Pendolini, and I checked the prices, and then those prices went like 3 times higher, and I was really disappointed. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And when I was in Holland, I was looking for a handbag for my mom, and I've noticed something that was interesting, and then I went to a different shop, and when I got back, I thought of buying that handbag, and I was told that on Facebook they can just order the thing to be kept for them. And I asked when would that lady come over to look at that handbag, and I was told she didn't know, and the price kind of changed because all of a sudden you had to, no, maybe not all of a sudden, maybe that was the price, the different price for the handbag and a different price for the belt. And I was like, oh, okay. um, so when one time I went to Amsterdam and I had a pancake, and on the notice board it said 13 euros, and I actually paid 17 euros. And instead of asking like what happened, or can you exchange me this one for the one I see on the notice board, I just thought, okay, this one time I had this meal, this pancake. And at work we were told that we could have straw waffles for free, and there were different types of straw waffles because that was a chocolate factory, and they could come, with bigger sizes, and they were sometimes totally covered with chocolate. So yeah, they were actually very interesting. But sometimes I had to pay, and sometimes I had it for free. And when I asked my colleague at work, she didn't kind of know. Like, she said, "Oh, they took money from you, didn't they?" And I was like, "Yeah, and I don't know when is it free and when is it not." And she's like, "Well, apparently sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't." Okay. And then I think in Strushinyanka, I had a lady who, when I used to buy this French croissant, actually, I liked French croissant with chocolate. And, well, yeah, and I caught her on stealing, and, I didn't say anything, but a thought appeared like why, and so on. And in my mental mind I go over the fact that yeah, I didn't give back the books, and I thought over other examples when I took the money from my mom's piggy bank or something. So like, why am I as if answering somebody else's question in my own mind? Well, yeah. And my bus driver, he used to do the same thing because he would just, take the money from me and he would smile nicely and do it. And I just never assumed that it could happen, that I had to check the change, but he did that. Just once I caught him, and I think he did that more often than once. Okay, and driver. Yeah, and yet another bus driver. When I was going to a new work in Krakow, I didn't know where was exactly the place and how much time it would take to get there, and even at which platform to leave. So I asked the bus driver, and he told me that he would stop the bus and he would tell me that this is my bus stop. And he missed the bus stop, and then I had to walk on feet and on foot, and it wasn't nice. And I was late for the very first lesson, and I was stressed. Yeah, and angry too. Yeah. In Holland, when I was living, actually, it was an extreme situation for me because I was, leaving a place and still thinking of looking for a place to stay for the night. So I was leaving the hostel, and it was a hostel in Purmerend, and they didn't give me my printer and my juicer. And these two things were kind of important to me at that time. And the printer was important because I was scanning my diaries, and I had them on my USB drives. And the juicer was important because I started to fast, and that was better. That was more interesting, eye-opening experience. And those juices were all of a sudden important, and I thought that if I stopped buying this one juice a day and started to make my own juice. So he actually, when I was leaving the place, sure thing, I had a lot of things with me, and when I was leaving the place, then I was asked if I had everything, so I was sure I had. Um, yeah, but with hypnosis, you can be sure of a lot of things. Um, whoops. Oh, I think, when I lived in Przecznica Strusińska, I used to go to the copy shop and print out the materials for lessons so that I could cut them out easily at home. And whenever I just went there, the man was in the toilet. So it happened quite so often. Yeah. Uh, and I had the recurring things over my entire life with shoes. So I never liked buying shoes because my feet are 41, and there was always a thing about it. There was always a thing that if even if I noticed the shoe type I would like to have, then it turned out there was no my size. So we would be walking and trying it on, and I wouldn't like any of the shoes, and that was it. And because I didn't like it, then my shoes even broke faster. And my mother was always into buying shoes, like, let's go and buy shoes, let's go and buy shoes. But I noticed that when I started to go to shops, like bigger shops where you don't have to ask for a given shoe number, the salesperson, but by CCC, you can see by CCC you can see all shelves available to you, and all shoe sizes. And most of the time, most of the shoes, even those I wouldn't think of trying on, had the size 41, because, well, that is not unusual shoe size. Yeah. Yeah. And I remember also going to a bookshop, and I I remember that I had a list with things, with books that I wanted to check and I wanted to buy, and I was told that all of these books you could get easily in the library, which is kind of an obvious thing to say to people who actually read books. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, so that is it when it comes to shops. I think sometimes prices just adjust to us in a magical way. Yeah. Okay, so if you want to get a free PDF of Piglet, drop me a line at elkinga788@gmail.com. Piglet is going to be on sale on the 28th of July. So soon it's going to be on sale, and you can still have it for free, and then you can still drop me a line and just write if you liked it or if you didn't like it. And if you want to check out my course, Amelia, click the link in the description below. You can find the info also on my website, Instagram account, Facebook account, and if you like this video, like, share, and subscribe.